Student, Assalamu alaikum. We are meeting again. System of real number, exponents, and radical. Today, our class is especially based on the rules of radical and the natural numbers. We will start our class with the rules of the radicals. A radical means the sign of like this. In this sign, the number or terms under this sign is called radicand, and this symbol is known as radical. If there is no number is present, that means 2 is present, and this 2 is called index. Again, if there is no number in the radical sign, that means 2 is present, and this 2 is known as index. This index is changed into the exponent equals to 1 upon 2. I think all of you understand the number inside the radical sign is called radicand, or terms inside the radical is known as radicand. The number is not present under the radical sign, that means it has 2, and this 2 is known as index, or this index is changed into the exponent, it comes as 1 upon 2. Now, rule number 1, if two radicand having the same terms is always equals to the term, because the exponent of the radicand is 1 upon 2, is another 1 upon 2, both the bases are multiplied, powers are added, 1 upon 2 plus 1 upon 2 come as 1, and that means x. Rule number 2, if a number under the radical sign equals to a, then we remove the radical sign by squaring both sides, and this radicand become as a square. This is rule number 2. Rule number 3, if two different variables or terms multiplied each other in the radical sign, we write as the product under the one radical sign. That means root x multiplied by root y, it is equals to root x into y. Similarly, if the two different numbers or two different terms under the radical sign divide each other, we could write as under the division both in a single radical sign, root x upon root y, radical x upon radical y equals to radical x upon y. Rule number 5, if a number divided by the radical sign having the same terms, so that means according to rule number 1, x equals to root x multiplied by root x, therefore x upon root x we write as root x multiplied by root x, and in the denominator x is present, that means in the numerator as well as the denominator both are cancelled, one radical sign of the x is remaining, that means the answer is root x. Similar, in the rule number 6, if a radical sign divided by the number x, first we change the x according to rule number 1, x into x and the numerator radical x, denominator radical x, both are cancelled, but remaining in the denominator one radical sign, that means 1 upon root x. If two different terms added together but they have the same radical numbers or same terms, that means we take as the same number as the common outside the bracket. So here x root z plus y radical z, that means x plus y root z is taken as common. Similarly, if the numbers or terms in the radical are subtracted, both have the same radical sign, we take the common root c, but a minus b. These are the fundamental rules of the radical sign. And these rules keep in your mind or learn by practice again and again in your exercise. Okay, now come to the page number 42 of your book, exercise number 2.5, question number 1. First of all, keep in your mind what is the meaning of the radical sign. Radical sign is also known as the square root of that number. So, if any number is present under the radical sign, we find the square root of the number or square of the number. Simply, first we change the radical sign into the exponent form. Okay, we eliminate the radical sign and change into the exponent. There is no number, that means here 2 is present always. The exponent is 1 upon 2. And now we find the factors of the 169. 169 is a number which comes in the table of 13. That means we write 13 multiplied by 13 raised to power 1 upon 2. And this number is twice. Therefore, we write as 13 square raised to power 1 upon 2. Both the two cancel each other and the answer comes as 13. And now I will solve this question by the another method. Look at and keep in your mind. Okay. Now how we will solve this question into the another method. That means we write the radical sign first, and now the factors of 169, it comes as 13 into 30. If a number comes in a radical sign whose index is 2 or exponent is 1 upon 2, is taken as single with as 13 is the answer. I think this is very easy method, but radical sign means find the square root, and square root means first we find the square of the number and then we write as a common factor, or SCF means 13 into 13, 169, and we took only 13 is the answer. Question number 2. But here in the question number 2, the number or radicand is 180. But 180 is not a perfect square of any number, so I resolve it into its factor. How we obtain the 180? 2 into 3 into 3, 2 3 is 6, 6 3 is 18, and 18 2 is 36, 5 is 180. And this factor I obtained by LCM method. 180, 290, 245, 315, and 3 5. So the factor of 180 is 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 into 5. Now, first we take the pair of the 3 before the radical sign once. Similarly, 2 is also having the pair we took outside the radical sign, but the remaining is 5 we write under the radical sign. Now it comes as 3 to the 6. That means 6 root 5 is the square root of 180. Okay, student. Now come to the question number 3. Or as per laws or rules of the radical, if the number are same come in the radical sign twice, means we write as in a single radical sign. So radical 12 multiplied by radical 12 means we write as square root of radical 12 multiplied by 12. As per previous question, if a pair comes in the radical sign, it is write as the 12. Okay, the pair come singly except of the radical sign. But in the question number 4, there are two radicals multiplied each other. They have the different number. First, we write as both the number in a single radical sign. Okay, radical 16 multiplied by radical 12, both are written as 16 into 12. And in the next step, we made the factors of 16, as we know that 4 4s are 16. And again we write as the factor of 12. 2 multiplied by 2 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3. And as we know that if the pairs of the numbers come into the radical sign, we write the number before the radical sign and without the radical sign. That means the pair of 4 come outside the radical sign. The pair of 2 again come, but the remainder is radical 3. Now 4 to the 8 root 3 is the answer. Okay, student. Now come to the question number 16. We look at the question first. the two different numbers in the numerators and denominator are under the radical sign. First step, we take in both the number in a radical sign. It comes as 15 upon 5. And now both the number 5 and 15 are the multiple of 5. Therefore, we simplified it. 5 1 is 5, 5 3 is 15. The answer is 3. In question number 7, both the numerator and denominator having the same radicand, and first we write as both the denominator as well as the numerator in a single radical sign. 76 over 76, both are similar, and we cancel it. It comes as 1. Square root of 1 is 1. This is your answer. Now come to the question number 8. 18 upon under root or radical 80. As we know that if a number is written as without the radical sign, it could be written twice in the radical sign. So we write 18 multiplied by 18, and in the denominator 18 is present. Now this 18 and this 18 is cancelled. The remaining is under root 18. Now we make the factor of 18. It comes as 2 3s are 6, 3s are 18. But when we made the factor, we obtained a pair of 3. It comes outside the radical sign. 3 root 2 is the answer. Come to the question number 11. 5 root 8 minus 2 root 8. Both the number in the radical sign are same. Therefore, first we write 5 minus 2, and then we take the common is root 8. As we know that 5 minus 2 comes as 3. And root 8, we make the factor of this. 3, 2 2s are 4, 2s are 8. Now, according to the previous question, a pair of 2 we take out outside the radical sign. 3 multiplied by 2, and the remainder is 2. 3 2s are 6. Root 2 is the answer. I think these rules are very easy, and try and practice the exercise and complete the remaining question which I left. Inshallah, we will meet again in the next program, and simplification of the question. What do you mean by the radicand? What do you mean by the index and exponent?